2013, the President's report. In the ever-increasingly diverse community of San Lorenzo Village Homes Association, there are many different concerns and ideas of how to address those concerns. I am so glad to tell you that you have a board of directors and staff who are very capable and interested and motivated to do what can be done to make a better San Lorenzo. There are certain priorities and responsibilities that are already established for us in our bylaws. With the Homes Association as large as ours, enforcement of the covenants, conditions, and restrictions, the CC&Rs, and policies is our biggest job. There's a high expectation that the CC&Rs and policies are enforced to ensure that we all live in neighborhoods that look nice and in order to maintain or increase our home's value. This year, the number of CC&R and policy enforcement letters increased over any year, at least in the last 5 years. And the number of hearings were also increased over the number of hearings held in 2010, 2011, or 2012. One of the reasons we could do this was that at no additional cost to the association, an outside service was processed the assessment payments, and the payments were processed more quickly, errors were reduced, and staff was enabled to continue efforts and focus on CC&R and policy enforcement. We are very grateful for the hard work and dedication of the CC&R Implementation Committee to take on the immense project to clarify and refine policies of the SLVHA. It is a much more difficult task to implement change than it is to propose change. And the committee has already completed revision to the fine schedule and enforcement policies, which the board approved earlier this year. Currently, they're working on the front yard policy and the policy and procedure for exterior alterations. Another required task of the board of directors is to establish a budget and manage the finances of the association. We did not raise association dues this year, and we were still able to transfer money into our reserves account for future maintenance of SLVHA assets, and after 2 years of no adjustment, compensation for the staff was increased. Several improvements to our facilities this year included the firehouse painted inside and out, the firehouse HVAC, gas line to the shed, and the parking lot and sidewalk and the water line were all repaired, and an alarm system was installed. The monthly meeting was streamlined. Time spent on regular agenda items was condensed to report essential information, and time was still allowed for comments and questions for each agenda item, yet the end result was shorter meetings. The January meeting, we may have beat a record when we adjourned at 8:35. We truly hope that you understand that we respect your time, and the resulting shorter meetings, we hope, will encourage your attendance in the future. We enjoyed having great participation in our social events this year. Earth Day in April, Farmers Market meet and greet in May, the Ice Cream Social meet and greet in August, Movie Night in September, Halloween Extravaganza in October, Winterfest in December, and the first Lunar New Year celebration in February. People seem to be enjoying themselves, and we love offering you these opportunities to gather and have fun. Most of these events will be repeated this year, and we hope that you will be there. The biggest disappointment and frustration of the year was that the street sweeper we purchased new in September 2009 has had major mechanical issues all too soon. And on top of that, the street sweeper broke down at the worst possible time of the year. After multiple trips to the shop and weeks of insufficient service to our association members, it is still not functioning properly. It has to be operated in manual override and is wasting fuel and causing excessive wear of the brushes. It's a very expensive piece of equipment. At $150,000 to $200,000 for a new one, we need to carefully weigh the cost of repair to the cost of replacement. I thought the year was going to end without controversy, and then the KTVU reporter showed up. He came to do a story on CCNR enforcement for yard maintenance after the governor's proclamation of a drought emergency. And although the reporter was given an advance copy of the President's Corner, as was published in the January-February Village Briefs, the reporter did a huge disservice to our community by not disclosing the full story. Several other news services picked up the story without doing any additional research. And I found it interesting that 99% of the negative comments came from people outside of our community. When I followed up with the two people in our community who were disturbed by the news, they were pleased to learn the full story. We need to balance sensitivity to water conservation, budget limitations of some of our homeowners, as well as to respect all of our neighbors who care about curb appeal and our requirements to enforce CCNRs. I think people who live here can easily see what the truth is and know that we will resolve the drought concerns together as a community. There have been several changes in our community outside of the association responsibilities that are worth noting because of the positive direction it appears San Lorenzo is going. New businesses have come to San Lorenzo this year. Frazzy Paint, Taste of India, HE Restaurant, the Food Express Shoe Store, and Lee's Laundry. Trans Discount moved to a bigger storefront. And although still a major eyesore to the community, the demolition of some of the vacant Bohannon properties provides a clean slate for future development. We appreciate the cooperation of the Eden Chamber of Commerce on the Business Expo event slated for Saturday, March 1st, and we look forward to further cooperation with the Chamber and with you, the consumer, to help our local businesses flourish. Please come to the Expo and get to know our businesses and get some coupons and free samples. The Board of Directors the Board of Supervisors, including our supervisor, Wilma Chan, addressed our concerns when action was taken that resulted in the closure of several internet sweepstakes centers and the unattended collection boxes ordinance was enacted to reduce the public nuisance of numerous collection boxes. Wilma Chan worked particularly hard to see that the library expansion project was funded and will be completed. Supervisor Chan negotiated the promise of the PG&E to create a park on the lot of Washington and Grant, and we brought PG&E to many monthly board meetings this past year to report on the progress and to hold them accountable to this promise. The groundbreaking was held on February 10th, and they have promised it will be completed by April 2014. But if not, they will be brought back to our board meetings to explain. Most of the board members participated in one or more of the Eden area livability projects. Of particular interest to the board members are the areas of economic development and governance, and we hope you will join the working groups in these areas that are open to everyone so that you may help determine our destiny. Meetings will be held in March. If you haven't already, please provide your email address to the San Lorenzo Homes Association office so that you can be advised of the dates and times and places of public community meetings that affect you. It has truly been a pleasure to serve you as president of the San Lorenzo Homes Association Board of Directors. I'd like to thank my fellow board members for the multiple times they step up to do research, ask questions, attend meetings, and so much more. It has been a real joy to work with them. And I also want to thank our administrator, Susan Kleebauer, and her staff for their competent, reliable, and dependable work. They are the reason this association functions as smoothly as it does. Together, we can make San Lorenzo a better place. We look forward